Are the Bengals gonna sign Dalton Risner, and are they gonna bounce back? We'll talk about this coming up next on the Cincinnati podcast.
Coming up on the Cincinnati podcast.
Hello, world. Wincinnati. You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I'm Ace, he's Zim. We haven't heard from you guys or been at you guys for a while now, so we wanted to kind of recap the Commanders game. Zim was at the game, so we wanted to give you guys our thoughts on that and some of the topics surrounding the Bengals, Dalton Risner, things of that nature, the current status of the Bengals. Are the Bengals a team that just let players go away? We're going to talk about all of that, but before we get into that, partner, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, man. This is very interesting. Headphones. This is what it's like. So if you're listening to the pod, I have headphones on for the first time ever, and it's very weird because they're noise canceling. So I hear nothing. I can barely even hear myself speak. But the intro was so loud and like y'all didn't tell me that joint hit like that.
Yeah, the intro be hitting with the headphones, bro.
There's a lot of bass. I feel like we're bringing a lot of bass in the intro. There's a lot of bass.
Nah, for sure. There's a lot of bass. This show is sponsored by Fans of Cincy. Make sure that you guys sign up at fansofcincy.com. They got all kind of trips planned for the season. You don't have to do any kind of planning. You don't have to do any kind of booking and all of that. They're going to handle all of that for you. Plus, if you're just going to be at the location and you're looking for a Bengals tailgate or something like that, Fans of Cincy will be there. So you can also purchase the Fans of Cincy tailgate only tickets. That's going to come with drinks. It's going to come with food. And usually it's going to be a menu that's based off of the location that they have. They're going to be in Miami. They're going to be in Denver. They're going to be in Green Bay. So flights, hotel, game tickets, all-inclusive tailgate, that's all going to be included. All you got to do is go to fansofcincy.com and sign up today. You can also email them at info@fansofcincy.com if you have any questions or concerns. Dusko and our guys over there get you taken care of. No better company, in my opinion, to be able to have your trip booked and be so convenient. So definitely check out Fans of Cincy for sure. Zim, you didn't have to use Fans of Cincy for this last game because you are in the DC area, but you were at the Commanders game. What was the environment like, and what from the game aspect of being there and looking at the X's and O's, how do you break down the game and what transpired on Monday Night Football?
I will say this, the internet versus being at the actual game is just night and day. And I just, like we know that from going to games, it is very different. I was very surprised at the takeaways that I was hearing like online, but just for me coming to the game, of course, I know lots of Commander fans. So I got a chance to link up with a couple of my boys, a couple folks that were, whatever in the area. I brought Uzi to the game, of course. So Uzi experienced his first Joe Burrow heckler. I don't think he appreciated that. Like that was the first time I think as soon as we sat down, it was a dude, I'm talking about going off, bro. Joe Burrow, you trash. Joe Burrow, you ain't going to last the season. You're going to get injured. Like, we didn't even sit down. Yeah, it was wild. Everybody around it was looking like, bro, like, go somewhere, right? But, you know me, I'm going back and forth with the dude. I'm like, hey, like, just doing my normal thing, like, making people seem like kind of normal, I think, because I think he was throwing everybody off. They were like, why is this dude going so crazy? And then I kind of, was like, man, like, why you want my boy to get hurt? Like, we want Jaden Daniels out there, like, and then start going back and forth. He like, yeah, y'all, talking trash. But, I mean, Uzi was pissed. He was like, I can't. Like, that was his first time going somewhere and somebody was just going on Joe. So he was like, how could you, for a kid, he probably like, bro, like, how could you even talk about like that? You know what I mean? So
right.
That was interesting. They were really celebrating really hard off the first drives, of course. This is the difference though. they were very, very, very disappointed at their defense. And they were dogging their defense at the game. And I thought that they felt like they were pissed because they didn't have anybody that could really do anything with Joe Burrow and company. Mind you, T. Higgins and Jamar only played the one drive. So after that, and Burrow and goes and he gets Charlie Jones. They were mad at that. But then after that, them Tinsley touchdowns and everything, like I'm talking about everybody around there. Like, and the other thing is this. I know that online, everybody's like, well, those are backups. But those people, like, you got to think you're playing against somebody. The Commander folks, like, everybody in the whole section was sitting there like, bro, like, we ain't got no depth. Like, Tinsley, like, catching passes all over us. Why didn't he do that with us? You had that. And then you also had, like, bro, we're not – they were talking about, like, bro, we have no passing game. Because remember, they ran all over us on the first couple of drives. In the total game, they only had 85 yards the whole game passing. So they were very angry that they weren't able to pass the ball the whole game. And so then in the second half, remember, they just kept on running it. And I think both coaches were like trying to get out of it. Their fans was like, bro, let's do some play action, try to get our our pass game going, whether it's Josh Johnson or whatever. And I thought that stark difference when I finally got home and the next day, like nobody was pointing out the fact that they didn't pass anything, like in the whole entire game. I thought that stood out to me. I was watching the trenches. Another thing, I thought the pockets for Joe were good, and I think the film later on that we've been like kind of circulating all over the internet is really it kind of represents that too. Even Lucas Patrick, he did lose him one rep early inside, but the viral play. Mind you, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Joe scramble around. I'm not seeing like every little part of that part. So I'll do that later. But I will say, like, when that was happening and the other play that Joe extended, I'm literally thinking this is preseason. I don't have to coddle Joe Burrow. You know this from last season. I am not one of those guys. I think that Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football. I'm sorry if you disagree. But unlike those other teams, I don't need to coddle Joe Burrow. I thought that Joe Burrow played really good, but those plays that everybody's pointing out, I thought that he extended and did too much. Once he climbed out of the pocket and extended the play, throw the ball away. It's preseason. The risk versus reward in that scenario isn't big enough for me, like in that spot. And he did that twice where he's running around crazy. And in the regular season, that's Joe's superpower. In the preseason, I didn't like that. And I think I'm probably in the minority in that. And I think a lot of people are just like, well, the offensive line got to do more. And you're right. Like when the play breaks down, Orlando Brown kind of quits on the play. Mims is just standing there. I thought that those two went unscathed, and I didn't like that. But I thought that Joe Burrow was responsible for those. And I think when you look at the PFF blocking grades, it reflects that. Everybody's got like an 80-something on their blocking grades, because they didn't really lose the rep. Like if you're extending a play and it's beyond 5, 6, 7 seconds, that's not on the offensive line. So that was my main takeaway. There were guys that flashed like 51, flashed a bunch of times later in the game, third, fourth string. Lux, I thought looked really good in the slot. Most of my takeaways are mainly from the end of the game. And the one part I did leave out is the trap play. I was walking to my seat when they got the 40-yard run. Me watching it later on, Bengals and base defense get caught with a trap play. Looks like the offensive linemen have option to either hit guys with a wham or be able to counter or run a counter GT off of that action in that run play. And in a preseason game, I ain't going to say, man, we was talking the other day about zone versus man in basketball. I'm not saying that it's like a coochie move for the Commanders to run that, like, of course, run that play. But I don't think there's many base defenses, or if you're catching somebody in a stunt, that's going to be able to react to it. Also, Jaden Daniels, you're not going to see but that many Jaden Daniels in the NFL on a week-to-week basis. They should have leveled him on that run because Joe Burrow, if Frankie Louvo had the same chance, he'd have cooked him and knocked his ass out, right? So, like, I thought that the defense was weak as I don't know what. And I didn't think that they gave any fight early in the game. And I know that was very elongated, like what I'm saying. Yeah. There
Yeah.
was a lot. It was a lot with it, but I just the takeaways in the run defense for me weren't as strong. I thought that the other team has Jaden Daniels, the threat to run. They run the perfect play against a stunt, and that's what it looks like. And nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it looks like, and that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, for me, I think, and we talked offline because we get called homers, and I'm like, we're not homers. Like the Lucas Patrick quote from me the last time, the criticism of Andy Dalton. That's not what a homer does, right? But at the same time, we're not pessimistic. We're not crashing out over a preseason game. I will say I thought that the run defense was horrible for the first units. The thing that I didn't hear enough about was that the second unit defense looked good. They played well. Like the Washington Commanders were not able to do anything after their first team offense went out of the game. Like they did not look the same whatsoever after that. And I felt like the first game, if I'm comparing in the Eagles game, I don't think the defense ever looked good at any point in any stretch of the game, whether it was the first unit, second unit. We had guys like Barrett Carter getting interceptions. We had guys that were playing better in the secondary. I thought that wasn't talked about. And I understand like people are going to focus on the starting defense, but the reality of the situation is this. Wasn't a good defense last year. We already know that, right? There were some personnel change. For the most part, it's most of the same personnel, but they're also a defense that is learning a brand new defense, possibly brand new terminology. Like it's not going to look good from day one. So for me, like I'm not crashing out over a preseason game where they're not going to do any of the stuff that they're going to do during the regular season. That's not to say that you can't criticize them and say, hey, we need to play better on defense. But I'm not saying that the season is over. And here's my thing on that as well. The Bengals defense was absolute cheeks last year. They almost made the playoffs. Like I hear this thing, like it's one thing if the Bengals wouldn't have even come close to the playoffs and they were like a 4-win team, 4 or 5-win team with that bad defense. Like literally, if they win the Patriots game at the beginning of the season, they're in the playoffs. And that wasn't a game where the defense was at blame. It was the game where the offense just wasn't up to par, which is why these guys are playing in the preseason like they are right now. So for me, you know, I get it. I understand it. I just felt like there was a lot of energy put towards that. There was a lot of energy put towards why does Zach Taylor have Joe Burrow in? We know why. We're Bengals fans. We're smart. We know why, because they've gotten off to slow starts every season. That, you know, there's been times where Joe didn't get to practice and stuff like that. Like they don't want that to happen. That's why. And so the blaming of Zach doesn't make sense on that play that you're talking about, because if Joe Burrow just throws the ball away, it's a non-issue. It's not a situation where he's having 300-pound guys fall on him, right? Like, and so for me, it's like you just have to look at these situations for what they are. You know why Joe Burrow's in the game. You know he's not the only person in the game, right? Like the defense, some of the starters are still in the game, and that's because they have gotten off to slow starts. And I thought, like looking at this game, I thought if you looked at it from beginning to end, there's always going to be some negatives there, but I thought positively on offense, even when Jamar Chase and T. Higgins wasn't there, Charlie Jones looked good. You know, it looked like he had chemistry with some of those up-and-coming guys. And then you talk about the end of the roster, and I think last week when I talked about the Eagles, I was like, man, where's the rest of the talent on the Bengals team? Where's the depth? We saw that in a Jalen Rivers playing at right guard in this game, right? We saw Jalen Rivers actually look like he could be the right guard of the future right now. We saw some positive things. We talk about what is his name? Tinsley, the wide receiver. Yeah, Tinsley. Like Tinsley, yeah, balled out. Like, so
you saw what Joe said after the game about Tinsley?
Yeah, I think he said something like he gave him another vote of confidence. I know they talked about he looked good in camp. It was fine for it to translate into a game. And you never know. He could be a guy down the line where if injuries or something happen, he's a guy that can step in and do. What did he say?
Joe Burrow said that he's earned a spot.
Oh, he's earned a spot. I mean,
yeah, bro.
He definitely earned a spot on the roster. So
it's tough, though, because the Bengals, now we have a conversation, though. Because the Bengals generally are going to dress 5 because they got the 4 tight ends. Now, my question is, what does Burton's knee look like?
Burton, we got to figure out what's going on with Burton, but at least you know now that I think going into the season, I didn't think Charlie Jones was that guy. I don't run away from any takes that I'm wrong about. So Charlie Jones looks like he could be a guy. So if Burton is an issue, you know that you have more depth there. When it comes to Tinsley, you have him now. Burton, like you said, you got to see what his role is. But I thought I saw like a lot of positives and not just solely negatives. I saw the negatives. I can understand why people feel that way, but there's also like balance to that. So, and I'm not trying to tell people how to fan or what they should do, but I just think it's crazy that we get called homers for looking at situations realistically. Like I was telling you about the Logan Wilson situation. Well, a realistic way to look at that is Logan Wilson's coming off of a knee injury, guys. He's not going to look like someone who's not coming off of a knee injury. He's not going to be as fast as he was last year. And I was telling you, I was like, think about when Geno Atkins had his knee injury. He didn't look like Geno Atkins that first season afterwards. Now, how that affects the team, that's a conversation we'll have to have. But I'm not looking at a preseason game and saying, hey, Logan Wilson is coming back off of a knee injury in a brand new defense, and I'm benching him now. Like, let's bench him now and put Oren Burke. Like, for me, I'm not at that point right now. Like right now is evaluation. Let's see how these things go. If it continues to be a problem, sure, of course you want to do something like that. But to cause such a stir, I think right now and crash out over preseason games, I'm just not there right now. I'm not criticizing anybody that does. Fan how you want to fan. I'm just not at that point right now. So like for me, I thought a lot of the game for the most part was good. The bad, I didn't like how easy it was for the run defense and how bad it looked and how easy it was for them to score. But the other thing too is like the Jordan Battle criticism, like I'm not too mad. Like I might be a little indifferent to that because I know some people were like, take Jaden Daniels' head off. I think you even said hit him at that point. I mean, bro, like I think there's a camaraderie in football. Like, and I'm not saying that it's like don't do this, but like when we see these guys at the end of the game, when Pat Mahomes is shaking Joe Burrow's hands, what are they saying? Stay healthy. Like, hey, bro, stay healthy so we can see y'all and the smoke can be what it is. If Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow goes down in a preseason game, it's like, bro, is it really worth that? Like, so I get why he was hesitant. I think if this is regular season week 1, I think Jordan Battle is taking his head off. But the fact that it's a preseason game.
But it's a game and he's inbounds, right? Like, yeah, I hear you, but you know this too from just coaching. Yeah. If you don't, you have to practice with the same mentality and physicality as you want to bring to the game. A preseason, I guess the difference, because I'm gonna sound a little contradictory because I just said Joe Burrow should have just threw it away on a preseason game, right? The difference is I'm a defender, he's in the field of play. And I know, and this is the old Zim from 4 years ago, I would agree with you. But I watch how these people try to hit Joe Burrow, and I watch how these people treat Joe Burrow on a week-to-week basis. I promise you, every dollar in my bank account, Frankie Louvu would have leveled Joe Burrow and knocked him out the game if he would have had the same opportunity. And so,
but do you think the media and everybody would have criticized him? Because it's like, bro, like, why are you?
No.
Yeah.
No. I made people say that, Zim, you always act like the victim. I'm witnessing this. How many times have you ever had the opposition tell you that Joe Burrow got his leg pinned back in the Super Bowl and he was hurt in the Super Bowl, but credit to him for finishing it out? You'll never hear nobody say that, even though millions of people witness that. They don't treat the Bengals the same way. If we would have had Jaden Daniels, they would have made a fuss out of it. Remember when Logan Wilson put the hit on Mark Andrews or whatever? They said, oh, that's a hip drop. Then he did another hit. They said, oh, bro, he's a dirty player, right? Those same players, the Roquan Smiths of the world, they had no problem in flip coin games, tearing our legs up, knocking our offensive lineman out, pushing Jamar after the play, all this type of stuff.
But see, don't get me wrong. In the regular season, I'm with you. Like this is the only reason I'm like he shouldn't have killed him is it's the preseason. Because I feel like
Jordan Battle got rock him, and I'm gonna tell you, I think it would have set the tone for the whole season. Like I think they would have said that's how we play. I bet you Knight, I bet you 44. If he was around there, he would like. I think that he knows what I'm talking about. It's like you gotta go and do it. Like you gotta make that hit, and you gotta set the tone because we're now a young group trying to set a new standard. Remember that play on the sideline years ago where we let somebody, I think it was like in the Steelers game. Remember they like barely touched
William
dude?
Jackson III, like
Yeah,
tapped him and let Le'Veon Bell go up the sideline. Yep.
It reminded me of that. And to me, like, that's not the tone. That's not what you want to say. And I think, and I hope afterwards in the locker room, somebody probably came to him and said, hey, bro, if you get that same opportunity, you got to take that hit because they're not playing fair. They're not playing fair, bro. Like the same way that you're saying that camaraderie and stuff, them Steelers dudes, them Ravens fans, I be on Instagram, they be liking posts of people talking about Joe Burrow getting hurt, all of that, actual players. They do not care. They don't care about that. That's just for the cameras, bro.
I'm
will
just,
rock Joe Burrow.
I'm just coming from, I think, a player standpoint. The other thing is I think players don't want to get hurt in the preseason. I don't think like, because not only could he hurt him, he could hurt himself too, right? Like going too hard in the preseason. And I think like some of the effort that you're seeing out there, not making an excuse for it, but I think a lot of it when it comes to the vested veterans, they're like, I already got my spot. The guys that are going to go hard, like I think if you take him out and you put Dejon Anthony in that situation, Dejon Anthony's probably rocking him because Dejon Anthony is in a battle. Tyson Anderson's probably doing it. But I think a Jordan Battle like that, he's probably I just feel like it could go either way because
I know what you're saying for sure.
Devil's advocate, he rocks him and he injures him for the season. He's gonna be getting death threats and all of that all over a preseason game.
Bro should have slid. Bro should have slid.
He should have slid though.
I'm trying to
hear enough criticism from Jaden. Well, no, they did because matter of fact, when they interviewed him, the reporter was like, "Why didn't you slide?" So yeah, he should have slid for sure.
I hate giving purple people attention, but think about it. They'll go back 20 years and tell you about Burfict. You know what I'm saying? To try to justify like anything.
Any kind of thing between the lines.
But we watch all of these guys give us all these crazy hits year after year. We watch, Stinker Fitzpatrick tear up Nick Chubb's knee and all this other stuff and walk away unscathed. Ain't nobody calling him Burfict of the league. You know what I'm saying? 20 years later, people still bringing up Burfict. Like Burfict is a microcosm of what happens when you rage against the machine. When you get a guy like me, Zim Hude or whatever, this is what happens when you rage against the machine. I'm tired of people trying to treat us like we're less than. I'm tired of people not giving us our fair shake. And when I speak out and I'm boisterous on it, then ops get mad. They be like, I hate that guy. I wish he was dead, because we're showing factual information. We're showing occurrences of the same thing happening, and we don't care anymore. The people that are rebelling, I know Jada Daniels and Jordan Battle, they're probably friends in real life. That's cool and all, but I'm telling you, I'm Burfict on the internet. I'll put 190 on that boy head and if I'm the Bengals,
for sure.
I'll put all 190 pounds of Zim Hude on him. If I'm the Bengals, I'd have put a 40-piece chicken nugget on him, and I would have dipped that boy in sweet and sour sauce and took him out right there. 40-point chicken nuggets. I'm mad we only put 31 on them, and I'm mad at our fans going to the internet aiding that like we didn't win the game too. I'm raging against the machine.
So you do want our guys to go hard 24/7, whether it puts them at injury risk or not in the preseason. In the preseason. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Burrow, you're going hard, but you're making business decisions as well too. I'm saying the same way Burrow went and stretched out the play. I'm not mad at nobody hitting him. You wouldn't
want Joe Burrow to get down. You wouldn't want him to slide.
I'm mad that he extended that and he did that. He should be smart enough to know that if I go down, my season is over. Jada Daniels got to be just as smart to say, bro,
he does.
It's three dudes right here. I need to get down, bro. So I'm telling you, bro, I don't know. I walked away from that game saying I want another series of Jamar Chase in, because everybody been complaining about we start off rusty. I want another series. T. Higgins didn't get a target. T. Higgins had one target maybe the whole preseason. I wanted a whole nother series of T. Higgins coming out there. I wanted to put 40 on them because I'm trying to shut all these people up. I have no nonsense for none of this. I don't care about nobody. Nobody's giving us a fair shake. The same way that y'all being very critical on the run defense, notice none of the opposition is pointing out that we had a good pass defense in that game. They're not aiding you in any of your conversations. Every time that everybody calls it realistically, like, oh, yeah, bro, we got to be better than that. The opposition is just taking those tweets and taking your sentiments and using it against you. I'm not playing into that. I'm not with that. Like, I know that Evan McPherson is just a part of the equation as the defense. I'm a Bengals fan. I know that. I don't have to play into these narratives from Ravens fans and Bills fans that are trying to pump themselves up because they don't know, they don't have an answer for the 40 points I'm going to put on their head. They're only trying to tell y'all defense because the Bengals on paper as it stands are the number one offense, and they're trying to cope and make it seem like the defense is such a big thing when we know as Bengals fans that if Evan McPherson hits 3 field goals last year, you're the number 3 seed and you win the division and you go to playoffs and you probably go to another bowl. That's how small the margin is, but they're not going to give you that context. They want you to beat yourselves up. They want y'all to talk about the defense all day because they don't want to talk about the offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. They don't want to talk about the offense because they know it's unstoppable. Like, I came on here a long time ago, and I think I tweeted it out. I was like, the reason that the Ravens signed Jair Alexander, drafted Malachi Stark, is because of the Bengals. Like, they can sit there and talk about, oh, but what's Burrow's record? What is your front office saying? This team that was one of the top teams offensively in football, and we had one of the top defenses in football, hung 40 on us. Like it was easy. And like when it comes down to it, the Bengals are an offensive team. I don't care. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't care about the defense, but for me, I feel like I was almost 2 years ahead of this. I knew that they were going to be trending towards an offensive identity because they're going to have to pay Jamar, Joe, and T. That's your identity. That's what you're investing your money in. So unfortunately, that's what the identity of the team is going to be. The Bengals have always kind of been always kind of had an offensive identity. They're not a Ravens. They're not a Steelers where you think about the defense first. You always think about the Ocho Cincos, the AJ Greens, the Carson Palmers, and the Joe Burrows, the TJ Husmazadas. Like, you don't really like Trey Hendrickson might be one of the best, and Vontaze Burfict and Geno Atkins are some of the best defensive players. But even in the eras that they played in, they weren't the first people that you thought of on those teams. The Bengals have always had the offensive identity. They've had better defenses, but that's what this team is. And, like, that's what you're trying to stop. That's why you're going out and trading for a Jalen Ramsey. That's why you're going out and drafting all of these corners. And that's why the Chiefs went out and got the safeties that they did and did all of that in the offseason and drafted all of those corners, because the Bengals are an offensive team and an offensive juggernaut that a lot of people can't stop. Like, bro, we're going to drop 30. Can you drop 30? That's the challenge, because there's some really good offenses that cannot consistently drop 30. We're dropping 30 no matter what. So I don't care. Like, can you match that? Because everybody doesn't have the quarterback to match that. Everybody doesn't have the offense to match that. So for me, like, that's where the mentality is with it. Yes, we need defense. Yes, we're hoping for it. But I'm not expecting this defense to be top 10, top 5, top 15. I'm expecting them, if they can be in the 20s, they're going to be just fine, bro. You know, the crazy thing is, did you know that the Killer Bees sucked on defense? Because I didn't. I was so used to the mentality of thinking like it's the Steelers, their defense got to be good. Bro, the Steelers, the Killer Bees, their defense was trash.
That's why they never won. But the difference is, to me, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown and Big Ben's prime isn't better than Jamar Chase.
It's not.
Joe Burrow.
We haven't even seen it.
It's not better than that. I can say that confidently already, right? And even in 2022, when the Bengals went on a 10-game win streak, the Bengals defense was the 17th ranked defense. Now, their scoring defense was 5th in the NFL. So there's so many different conversations going on, but everyone has to understand, what are your expectations? My expectations are the Bengals to be the 18th ranked defense. I think gets them to a Super Bowl. I really do. But also with that, I feel like there's growing pains, and you can't just bring in Band-Aid. You drafted Chris Jenkins in the second round. You drafted Dax Hill in the first round. This is the part where you play him. The Eagles have the lowest paid salary for a defense in the NFL by a wide margin. And the reason why it's like that is because they had to let the young guys play. And through that, you evaluate. We might get to week 4 and say, you know what? Jordan Battle is not it, right? But the only way we'll know is by playing it. Tyson Anderson makes a play in this past game. He had another good coverage play. There are young guys that have to play so that you know what you have, so that you can go and take the next step. Is Miles Murphy ever going to be able to put pass rush moves together, or is his ceiling Sam Hubbard? Is his ceiling just a run defender? You have to know that, and you got to play him. And in the process of that, you got to understand That's Jaden Daniels across the field. That's Lamar Jackson across the field. That like you need to respect who you're playing to and understand that them boys getting paid too. So it ain't gonna be like it ain't no steel curtain running out there. Like I'm not. If I was a homer, I'd be delusional enough to tell you, bro, we about to shut these boys down. That's not happening, bro. I'm letting people know that right now. If you think that you're going to come out there and just shut down some of the best offense, we played the Eagles and the Commanders, and you think that you're going to shut these guys down, their starters, and top 3, top 5 offenses in the NFL for a first-time defense with a brand new defensive head coach, I just think your expectations are a little bit higher than mine. I think it's dope that you think that that's going to happen. I just can tell you play by play why that play went for big yards. Who was out of position? Is it a skill thing? We're going to have the answers on Logan Wilson by week 4, week 5. If we keep on saying the same thing, then we'll have a conversation about it. Pump the brakes. Let's see what Logan Wilson has because I value his interceptions. I value his green dot. I value different things. And I need to make sure that that's also fused in with these young guys. Jumping the gun and saying, get him off my field. Jump the gun like all these guys out of there. You don't really know that yet. And I think that was put on high display on Monday night.
Yeah, before we get out of here, because I gotta run real quick. The situation with Dalton, is it Risner or Risner? Does anybody know? Because I call them both. I don't know what it is, but
I like Risner. I like Risner because I like to rise up. People say Risner, I'm married, but if you got a lot of Riz in your game and you want to Riz up something, you could go with Risner. I think it go Rise or Riz, but I'm rising up, boys. But look, this is what I was going to say. I don't think that he has a real market, as they're saying. Like now he's taking a visit with the Seahawks and the Steelers. I think he's trying to pump up the little bit of money that the Bengals are probably trying to send to him and saying 1 year, $2 million. He wants 1 year, $3 million or something like that. And just saying, I don't know, but that's my take. I don't know. But that's what I took from that because all of a sudden now he's got a market and bro been on the couch eating bonbons with us.
For sure. Yeah, I think for me, I was just like, man, I'm tired of I don't understand how you're taking visits and we're about to start football in 2 weeks. Like, I think the visit time is a little bit over. I think to me, I get it. Maybe it's from his side. I just think if it's the Bengals, like this is Joe Burrow, this is his future, this is a crucial piece. Try to get the job done or try to get the deal done. I know some people are saying that it looks very similar to the Noah Fant situation. Looks very similar to some of the other situations we've seen before too with Tierra Tart and stuff like that. I just hope that when he's looking at it, Steelers, whoever else, who else is it? Steelers and who else? Seahawks. I mean, you got to look at Joe Burrow and be like, bruh. Like, I don't care if these other teams are offering me more. I want to block for number 9. So hopefully that's what it is. I just wish that it would, like, I hate playing this whole waiting game, waiting for him to do visits and all of that. I would rather him be in there now. I would rather him being able to be week 1 ready, right? Because, like, if he signed now, that gets him closer to being on the field week 1 versus, if he stalls another week or so, then we got to start somebody out there like a Lucas Patrick and see how he holds up and then put him in there. So I would just rather this situation just resolve itself, but I understand the business and it is what it is.
I would hope that they would give the job to Risner. I look at Lucas Patrick as he's getting like damn near the vet minimum. I don't want to cut him. I think a vet, I saw enough in the game watching the film afterwards.
To keep him, yeah, for sure.
To keep him as depth. I don't think he's the greatest guard of all time, but for a team that struggled with injuries to the offensive line, I'm just not in the business of removing guys from it. I think the depth behind it with Volson, Patrick, Ford, Kirkland, maybe even, and then Rivers, to me, is an outstanding 5 behind the 5 that are there. Agreed. And that's what I'm with. I don't think that Risner is going to be the greatest thing ever, but I think it does give us a chance to give us one of the best offensive line that Burrow's ever had.
For sure. Before we get out of here, though, I'm going to toss it to our sponsor over at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. What's them hot honey lemon peppers? Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. And much love Mama T, Uno and CTB. MB's got Bengals wings, and now we just added T's. Cause 9 to 5 winning things. Gritty for Uno wings. We say yes, Sirski now. Like X's and be saying that T got them new wings. Only at MB's. Honey lemon peppers. Now you can call them T's. Honey lemon peppers. Now they call T Higgins. Or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winners. Them honey lemon peppers. Now they call T Higgins. Or you say number 5.
That was nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Stop in and let them know. They got the brisket fries. They got it all, the teas. So make sure you go down there and tell them that you want some of them files. Pull up on them. Shout out to them. Before we get up out of here, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. That's Wincinnati, all one word. On Twitter, there is only one official Wincinnati account. It's at Wincinnati Pod. Make sure that you guys follow us there. Follow me at New Stripe City. Follow Zim at Zim Hude and at Zim_Hude on Instagram. Zim, was there anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
I like that shirt, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We out. Hude.
Coming up on the Wincinnati Podcast.
Hello, world. Wincinnati. You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.